Hi, I'm Dita Von Teese, and I'm here with Time Out to answer some of their readers' questions. Well, unfortunately, not just burlesque dancing isn't the only thing I can rely on to keep me in good shape. I do a lot of Pilates, and I still take ballet classes. You know, I'm a failed ballerina, so that's how I ended up being a showgirl. So I still like to take ballet classes, though. Well, don't look too closely. Sometimes it's a little off. You know, we always say they're not like identical twins. Sometimes they're like, you know, they're twins but not identical. So, and usually what I do is I draw one, and then it's good. Then I draw the other one, and maybe it's a little bit too big. So then I have to go back and draw the other one a little bigger. And then that's why sometimes I go out like really like, you know, with a huge cat eye. Sometimes it's smaller, sometimes it's bigger, and a lot of times it's about whether I screwed it up or not. Sadly, I never really get a chance to see burlesque shows here because I'm always in the show and I'm always backstage before I, go on. I don't get to see many burlesque acts, but I would like to. There's a few people I'd really like to see. Like when people new come into burlesque, I think they should think more about that and not watch a show like mine and say, oh, I have to have black hair and I have to have pale skin and I have to, I have to be like that. My point is that people should try to look outside of what I do or what their other favorite burlesque stars are doing and think more about how they can really make their mark. And by making their mark, they're going to have to do something different and have to like think about what makes them great. What makes them different is what makes them great, instead of thinking that's what burlesque is. That's where I think a lot of the mistake is made with modern burlesque performers. I get asked this question a lot, what's the difference between stripping and burlesque? And my answer is more feathers and rhinestones, better lighting, bigger production value, because, the history of burlesque, burlesque, the striptease burlesque was invented in America. And so it's not any different. A burlesque show is a show, and the stars of the burlesque show were striptease artists. And when you read anything that Gypsy Rose Lee ever wrote, she liked being called a stripper. It was like that word was used back then. So I don't really need any fancy terminology to describe what I do. I never correct someone when they say she's a stripper. I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm proud of what I do and the history of striptease and burlesque. If I weren't a burlesque dancer, I think I would probably be a stylist of some kind, because I don't think my talent as a burlesque dancer isn't anything to do with being, the best dancer or the prettiest or the youngest or whatever. It's, I make these shows myself. I do my own hair, my own makeup, and it's really like a hands-on thing for me to create these big, lavish shows. And so I would probably do that, if I weren't gonna, and I probably will do that someday with someone else in the show, and I could sit back and watch the show. So I'd like to be one of those ladies that's in charge of Crazy Horse Paris or Moulin Rouge or the Lido, like the headmistress of the dancers who sits in the seats and tells them what to do.